have those tablets yet? Anyone? No? So all of you basically, right, have the tablet with you there, right? So no one actually work with the what we call that pencil or pen drawing, right? Is it? Manhei? Okay, your tablet's good. How is it? You get the feel of it? You can see the strokes?
Still okay lah, but this week, when I draw, it kind of feels dull, a bit dull,
A bit?
a bit dull.
Yeah, why?
My lines get thicker than last week.
Thicker than last week.
Uh,
Do you get the quality of strokes online there when
Still get
you move
but you need to draw lighter,
later?
with lighter strokes.
Okay. So right, if you don't mind, Manhei, can you actually share your screen, right? And show us how actually you work with those tablets.
Give me a second.
Okay. So I want to see, okay, we actually have to learn also from maybe some of the mistakes from our friends, okay, that we actually can overcome them. But this is really important there because if you want
0.0.
to get to know what basically I've done in detail, right, okay, for our lessons for this week, you guys can actually browse the previous video there, right, okay? So I'm going to upload later on also the videos that I actually have record. Okay, I'm going to update that, right, please. So you guys can check another videos that I actually did for this morning. So that kind of what we call that way. Hopefully you guys can get to know more better, okay, about what basically we have been going through.
So I'm ready.
You ready? Yeah. Wait up. Wait up. Okay. Let me actually just upload this one there first. Okay. Good. So you ready? Right? Can you share your screen?
Right. Yes.
Share the screen there. Your Photoshop screen. It is. What version Photoshop do you use?
Yeah, I think the newest one.
The new one lah, CC.
Uh,
Okay. Choose the brushes that you actually normally use to draw.
sure.
If you use hard round brushes, okay, you can try that first, and then we can. I want to see whether you can actually can control your brushes using Carl Ultimate Pencil or hard pencil. I'll do it after that.
Comparison.
Can share the screen now. Okay. Okay, good. You have reduced your opacity there, right?
Yeah, I think I did, but I normally I adjust it to my likings.
Where is it? You can check your layers. Alright. Okay.
Let's see.
Then you can add your
So,
layer there.
yes.
Okay, man, hey, this is not the right way to draw. You draw on top of the background there, right? Layers, right?
Yes, I adjusted.
Right. So don't draw on the backgrounds there. Add new layers on top of it. Don't get confused when you actually work with these methods of
Yeah, I
working.
usually tend to forget to switch the layers.
Uh, okay. Do you guys notice what are the mistakes, okay, from these methods of working? Do you realize them? Did you realize
Uh,
what are your mistakes?
the line should have been just a stroke.
What do you mean?
No, the line I just did should have been a stroke instead of multiple multiple ones.
No, the how you navigate those process of working there, right? You can
Right.
see it, right? This is a common mistake that most people do there. Okay? Not only you, right? Most people did the same because you don't get used to the what we call that, to the way of working with this platform yet. Okay, normally when we draw, we cannot zoom in there, right? Now, can you zoom in when you want to add some of the drawings there? When you want to draw the stroke there, right? Zoom
I'll
in.
try.
Okay, zoom there, right? Now you can see clear there, right? When you see
Yes,
clear there, okay, now you draw the strokes there.
like this.
Something like that. Okay. But why you feel hesitate there?
I don't know why, but I'm panicking today. Panicking a bit today.
Oh, don't be panic lah. Okay,
A
all
bit
people,
nervous.
right? It's all about sharing there, right?
I usually do a lot of strokes. Then if I don't, I think it's not right. I delete it.
Okay, okay. This is basically you draw based on someone artwork there, right? It's a good
Yes.
kind of practice there. But how about if you draw from the real photos there?
Photos.
All
See.
right.
The
Okay,
old ones
drawing.
can.
Okay, drawing from other people's works, guys. It can be a part of the minor exercise that you can do. Not because you want to, because sometimes we love to practice ourselves to draw from one of the photos or comics that we saw, we find interesting there, okay, that we want to be we call that we want to have this kind of feeling that we can draw also that kind of particular characters there, okay, is based on our skills there. But the challenge is normally, can we actually add the same kind of methods when we draw, right, using the real photos there? So that means we not actually draw from other people's characters or other people's artwork there. We create our own kind of artworks there right now. Okay? So this is the challenge there. You can actually scale a little bit there, right? Okay? Scale a little bit more on the photos there, right? Okay? So make it more, what we call that, huge there.
This way.
I don't know. How about you? What do you think? Is it clear enough?
I feel it's all right.
Sure. If you sure it's okay, right? Okay, don't draw on the background there, right? Okay. But hey,
All
don't do it
right.
as a part of your routine there, okay? Always add new layers on top of it. You don't have to close the background. You just add new layers on top of the first layers there. Draw on top of the first layers there. Start with the head lah.
Okay.
Zoom in a little bit. Because you can't see clear because if you don't zoom in there, right, okay? To the right kind of size there. Okay, what are the mistakes here, guys? Okay, you seem doing the same kind of what we call that movements there, right? Okay, if you're not sure, right, whether the stroke that you're going to do is right or not, zoom in a little bit more, closer. A little bit more closer there. Until you find, okay, this is the right kind of view that I can actually indicate the right kind of details there. Why you actually draw outline first? You don't actually draw the whole thing in that area.
I'm
You don't
not
cover the
sure
whole
about the
area there.
structure. I'm not really confident with how I draw the structure.
Okay. If you're not sure, why don't you actually focus there, right? on certain areas there, specific areas there first, right? Other than you just doing outline there, because
Right.
that's how actually you can develop your kind of understanding while you draw. Okay, guys? Because a lot of people do this kind of routine there, okay, for the entire of their process. They're not sure, they hesitate, they're afraid. But why you have to be afraid? You ask back the question there. Is there something that will kill you or bite you? Logically, they're right. Okay? No, they're right. But we have to face this kind of fears there. Are you sure the nose is right? The position, the structures of the nose is right? Right. Look carefully there, okay? Where is it? You zoom in closer a bit there and see the see basically the details there. If you need to zoom it a little bit more closer, go ahead. That's
It
the
turns
way.
blurry.
Yes,
Can't
of
see
course it's
much.
there because the quality of the pictures is not that high resolution, but it will help there, right? It will help. If you zoom in more closest, it will help there. Okay?
All right.
Hmm. Okay, what do you understand about the continuous line drawing that I show you guys before? Have you tried? Have you tried work with those continuous line drawings?
Yeah,
Hmm.
not much.
Okay,
Did a bit.
can
I
you
did a bit,
try
but
to work with it? I want to see how actually you conduct those structures line, those continuous line drawings.
still don't really understand much.
Yeah, but you see how actually I work there, right? Did you actually repeat and watch the videos? All right,
I only did it once.
oftenly, right? Okay, you have to watch those videos. All right, you have to often watch those videos until you find, oh, this is how actually I did there. Okay? Because I did show also how actually I move my hands there. Okay, when I draw. Okay, can you try to use those kind of continuous line drawings? Because right now when you draw, Mike, when you draw basically there, right? Can you guys see my screen also there, right? Oh, cannot. Oh,
Just stop presenting.
okay. Okay, let me share my screen there. You can actually, right? Stop presenting there. Thank you very much there. All right. So do we guys? So whatever that actually right, the methods that Munhei actually shared with us today, this is basically some of the common kind of routine. What I actually can give some sort of what we call that conclusions for me is a mistakes that make you feel a lot of hesitation when you draw. We want to break into or kick all these kind of hesitations there. We want to throw away all this kind of hesitation when we draw there, right? Because we want to feel more, you want to feel more confidence when you actually study the basics structures or you draw those subject matters there. Right. So that means, right, the common mistake that we saw from your kind of routine, you guys can see my screen there, right? These are the mistakes. When we actually draw there, right? We draw like this. With these positions, with this kind of what we call that a view, we start to draw like this. We assume. That's why we make mistakes. We assume there, right? See? When you actually saw my drawing, right, after all this week there, did I draw like this? Did I draw like this one? Amun hey?
No, sir.
No, right. Okay. So that means the tactics that you do is wrong. Okay? Even though you have that kind of confidence. Basically, you guys can draw. Right? But the way that you're handling your tools, that makes you not actually gain this kind of methods the right way. Okay, it's not that fair enough. If but actually you guys have seen how actually I draw before, there, right? Using these pictures there. But yes, I'm going to show you guys back again. If we have a very limited kind of reference, okay, this is a small reference like this. Okay, you told me just now, right? Like Mahay say, the photos is not that clear there. Okay, what you can do, first of all, you can crop using lasso tools, right? Like this, copy or copy paste. This one you can delete, right? I never draw right here. Remember that, because if you draw right here later on, it's hard for you to color those pictures there. Okay? Even though some of the techniques they use multiply to color over the line, I don't want to practice those kind of methods anymore. Right? Because those methods I actually learned 20 years ago. And I know it's quite effective for some of the reasons there, I think, but not for the beginners. Not for the beginners there. So, okay, we have this kind of pictures with us. Okay, so the next thing is, okay, I've scaled there, right? Okay, the pictures there. Even though when I actually zoom in, the pictures is not that clear there, right? But I don't rely on these positions to draw. Okay? Okay? Even though if I use this kind of what we call the positions, I still can use my, okay, take a look at my hands. My continuous line drawing here, see? Continuous line drawing there, controlling the strokes at the same time. Can you see that? This is something actually right new for you guys, right? Different methods of working without zooming there. But can you see how actually I control my hands, my pressure strokes there, right, when I draw? Using this continuous line there. I'm not drawing a manga characters right now, even though I have drawn manga characters before there, right, for you guys there, using the what we call that reference that we have. But right now, I'm using, let's just say if you're using the same brushes that's not there, using the brushes that you feel comfortable there, right, my head, right, it's okay, right? You can actually continue to use this, that kind of brushes there, right? But right now, if you take a look at how actually I managed to draw this subject matter there, using the continuous line drawing, controlling the pressures, right? Some of the volume of thickness from this, what we call the strokes, when I draw, were based on the quality of line there and shadows that appear from this subject matter there. I'm not coloring them, I'm not trace them, but I try to draw them back. Even though the drawings are a little bit more off, right? A little bit more off, but the main objective of this drawing here, we want to get as close as we can to study our drawing strokes. You see that? How long does it take there? Because if you say that you feel comfortable with your drawing right now, even though you say, okay, for some of you guys, maybe you say, maybe when you draw in front of people, you feel a little bit kind of not comfortable or panic, right? That's not the reason. The reason is we don't actually overcome our fear there. Okay, our fear there. Right? Okay, if you take a look right now there, okay, did I actually draw from outline only? Right. Yeah, I'm not actually draw outline only there, right? But what I actually did, right, I'm focusing the whole structure there when I draw. See? The difference of the drawings there? They show the quality of line and they show the professionalism of the drawing skills. This one is without zoom in. I'm using 10 point of sizes there. If you say, I'm lazy to zoom in, right? But you have to zoom in as a part of your methods of working process with computers there. Right? Don't be lazy there. All right, those are the first kind of what we call that way of working using those. Sorry there. Contour align drawing. Okay, because these drawings is really effective if the zero knowledge of person want to change the way they draw. If you want to change your skills, you want to improve your skills, this is one of the best kind of exercise that everyone have done, including me. You saw basically my previous kind of works, right? My earliest kind of works before, right? Don't take for granted what I say there, right? Because that's what makes me, that's what makes me difference there, okay? That changed a lot when I draw there, okay? When I actually develop my kind of different kind of styles there. So now, that are one of the drawing that you have to include in your exercise for this week. Okay? All right. You saw basically that when you draw some of the line, they try to draw, right, every single line basically, right? Hopefully they can draw like this one there, right? Everything has to be complete like this one. That's not the proper way. Even though you want to draw the sketch line, right? Okay? I try to zoom in, right, as close as I can. And when I draw hairline and strokes, see the way I move my hands there. I try to get a very soft kind of line there. Okay, you guys also can check why actually I use other than black colors for my sketch drawings there. If I want to give a little bit more brief kind of explanations, because it will give me a little bit more mood there, okay, more kind of different kind of feels there. If I use different kind of colors there. Just like we're using traditional methods there, okay? Traditional medias, okay, if I want to draw the ears, you see how I actually draw the ears there, right? Slowly, I basically carve, right? Sculpt there, okay, construct the structures of the ears there, and use different kind of volumes there. This one look a bit more thick there, right? This bit more thin, to show the depth of fields. And why actually draw this kind of back-to-back kind of strokes there, okay? Because I want to cover the areas of shadows to emphasize on the volume of those hairline, right? Without drawing the whole structures or drawing the whole, what we call that hairline, okay? We don't have to draw the whole single hairline there, okay? We just focus on the shadows to develop the structures of the illusion of those hair. And then if I want to draw the forehead, even though I make mistakes there, okay, because we draw using those tablets there, right? I try to overcome them back. See? Draw the eyes, try to get as detailed as I can. The nose, see the way I draw the nose? Where basically I start and where basically I move and end up the real drawing. See? Yeah. Draw the hairline there. See? Some people say, okay, how I should draw the thin hair there, right? See? Hairline or grass there, right? This is how I actually made it. Right? You see the difference there, guys? In this drawing and this drawing, sorry, in this drawing. Two different drawings there, guys. Sketch line, contour line drawing. So each one of you guys need to practice. It develops your kind of strokes in the right way. Okay? This is more into the sketch line drawings. Okay, this one basically we're using photos as a reference when you draw. What if you have to draw from your knowledge and understanding later on? Right. If you want to draw someone from the imaginations there, right? This is what I started. This is how actually I started. Right? This is how I started. Right? Basic constructions of line there. Basics, constructions of line, alignments altogether. So if you don't actually understand the basics constructions line, of course, you won't be able to draw any subject matter in the right way. I'm not trying to draw back again those characters there, but those drawings there, okay, those models there, I try to interpret my own kind of styles there. All right. I try to interpret back again. How actually I clean up the line. Right. Even though I'm draw on top of the same layers at the moment, but the thing that I want to show you guys right now, how actually we can actually draw based on our imaginations, right? Based from our imaginations then, to draw back again the subject matter there. Even though it's not that the same, but the methods of working, the way that I construct the line, oops, were the same there. You guys? And I can actually draw some of the shadows line over here using the same methods there. Just like we using those pencils that you draw, or charcoals, or traditional kind of methods that you draw. Okay, guys? So basic constructions line there. If you don't have this kind of knowledge and understanding, it's really hard for you to translate or to interpret your kind of visuals here. Okay? Without reference, right? Only purely imaginations there. I redraw back again based on my understanding. I'm not trying to copy, but I try to imagine what I saw. This is we're talking about our fundamental of working with those imaginations in the right way. If you ask me back again, this is the right way to sketch. This is the sketch line that everyone should understand how to apply as a multimedia students. Do you understand what I mean there? Oops. Chair. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So, if you do some comparison there, right? Okay, I'm not saying that to achieve this kind of drawings, they're going to be an easy path there. But I did show you guys how it works. This. Learn one step at a time. For those who have difficulties, I repeat myself again, difficulty to understand how to develop your drawing skill there. How actually going to learn from zero there, right? Trust me, this is one of the best exercises to develop your because our understanding has to be a progress there, okay? We cannot actually, okay, if I ask you guys, okay, for today, one of the challenge that you have to understand when you draw anything in your reference there, how are you going to construct the shapes and structures, right? I did also give some example videos, okay, how actually people design the character based on the constructive shapes and shadows there, silhouette there, okay? Okay, when we look at this subject matters there, we call it subject matters there, looking into the shapes, all right? Look into the shapes there. Okay, let me actually write, duplicate this layer there, please. Okay, anything that you're going to look or studies after this, right? From now on, please, right, look into the shape there, the overall shape, the whole structures of shape there, right? And let me see, we have these pictures like this one there, right? I adjust the brightness contrast. And this is also one of the features that we have that allow us to understand how to construct, right, the line, or how to basically change the effect of those shapes here, or the pictures itself there, right? I think you guys will learn a bit more details with Miss Fun there, right? Right, because we want to get some contrast look of these pictures there, then we can see more clear lah. But of course, the pictures, right, okay, when we adjust contrast, you cannot see a lot of details there, right? But what I actually want to show you guys, if I actually use these pictures here, then I want to see the whole silhouette of the shapes. Right, you can see here, even though there's a little bit kind of what we call that, I want to have a very quick kind of what we call that look presented to you guys here, right? If you look at the silhouette lah, right, as a designers, as an artist or designers, the right thing, same. We must be able to transform any subject matters that you saw before you draw into these shapes. Okay, guys, remember that. Change the way you look at things from now on, okay, into an element of design. This is a part of the element of design, guys, shapes. Remember about the element of design? Line, shapes, textures, colored form, value, space, tone, right? You must be able to transform the whole picture that you saw just now into the shapes there. Then when you saw this kind of shapes here, there, right? Okay, and you can see that, okay, I also can detect some of the errors there, right, from this picture there, right? So I can actually improve them back. But this is basically the fundamentals there. When you want to draw something, use your mind to imagine back again the shapes there. You can see this kind of shapes in your mind, but right now, with the help of technologies here, you can transform whatever that you want to see in your mind in front of you. Okay, that's how we develop the understanding there, guys. One of the methods as a part of designers kind of understanding. All right, from here, how actually construct the line? After you figure out the shapes there, same goes when you look at these photos there, right? Okay, these images there. Other than, right, faces there, shapes. You construct the line, right? Construct this line there. And then we have also the horses pictures there, right? I give you guys a very little bit challenging, right? Okay? Challenge, okay, for this week. To draw other than humans, animals there, shapes here. Look into the shape there, right? Okay? Transform into the shapes and then construct the line. How actually know the line there, right? Okay, from transform the whole structures into basic shapes. Okay, the training is, you can actually find a lot of YouTube or reference, right, channels online. I'm not saying that they cannot teach you guys, but our sessions basically, okay, when we want to learn about the basic anatomies, right, they're not going to be a part of the introduction to illustration subject there, right? Because multimedia, your courses, basically our courses that we have there, right? Okay? Multimedia courses there, we have a multiple kind of discipline that you have to learn. So I'm saying here because it's not enough time there. No one actually have the fair enough time to learn the whole thing in 14 weeks. I've learned formally, basically, there are 4 years in graphic design, train myself as a graphic designers, illustrators, and work with those multimedias and also apply those animations, okay, for my works. But formally, I train myself, like you guys, 4 years there. And I keep on developing myself until today. That means from 1995, start to learn formally until 2020. So that means how many years did I actually have dedicate myself to develop my understandings comparing to you guys only 3 weeks there, right? So that means work slowly, but don't work too slow there, right? Learn every inch is what you've been working on, every strokes that you are going to be work, try to understand, right? One step at a time. Each stroke that you learn, basically you develop those understanding. Okay? So that's why we have to take serious a bit, right? Okay? Maybe that's why I sound a little bit more serious there. Because why? Because this is basically a serious thing. Alright. Even though we're going to go through back to back again, if you want to draw some human figures or characters later on, okay? How actually, right, designer look at things here. I want to show you guys how they look at things. Okay? So if you want to draw a basic structures of human, you saw just now when I draw this drawing is there, right? I start with the circles there, right? But don't draw the circle like this. Huh? Okay, with the exercise, don't draw the circle like this. Press the line like this, and then you draw the line like this, and then like this for the neck, huh? And then nose like that, mouth, lips, eyes. Don't draw like this, huh? Please. Don't draw like this one there, right? If you draw like this, I'm going to ask you to redraw that again. Huh? Don't draw like this one there, right? Okay? Don't draw like this one. I really don't want you to work with this kind of drawings there. Because if you draw like this, the whole point that we actually want to learn about strokes and controlling the line to apply the element of line are basically fail there. Okay? So the thing that you have to understand when you want to draw every single shapes, you have to start with this kind of drawings. See the way I move my hand? Even though you're going to repeat some of the line, don't worry with that, it's okay. Right? It's okay there, right? Get the shapes right, guys. Controlling basically the strokes there, guys. Controlling the shapes there, right? The strokes there. Working with the shapes there, okay? Every single object that you saw basically there, right? What came from the shapes there. Working with the shape there. I know basically some people actually still have to develop an understanding of it. Oh, is it I have to follow exactly as what Mr. Fazal do there, right? It doesn't have. You can find also your own way to work there. But make it into blocks there, right? Okay? Make it into blocks, cylinders, right? Circle, more to cylinders there. Just to give you a bit kind of understanding there, see? You have to combine with some continuous line over here there. Because every single object that you will draw will came from the basic shape there. Okay, some of the parts that have the joining there, right? They have the circle that makes the joint well there, logically. Yeah. Shapes there, right? So work with this kind of methods of working there. So these areas, right, the buttocks there, right, okay, from the circles there. That's how actually we define things. Okay, well, basically from the shape there. And the line has to be have the quality of line there. If you are to understand a bit more kind of details later on, how actually I draw or understanding or learn about the basic principle of the shapes itself there, right? From drawing the, what we call that, the basic form models there, still life models, right? Like a form of structures of circles, a sphere, right? Okay? As we have done before there, I think. Take a look at the videos that I shared previously. Previously there, right? Okay. So now, if we take a look there right now there, right? This is basically one of the drawings that you have to apply from our exercise here. See the basic constructions there of the shapes there. Whether you can draw or not, I want to see your fundamental understanding. And if you take a look at the line itself, when I draw that, if you want to use grayscale for the, right, for this area there, of course, right, okay, these images, basically, these areas here, basically were based on, from the photos that we used there, right? It's not that quite practical there. But, right, whether you can use lasso tool to trace them back, right? Or you can, right, for me, I can delete these areas there, right? Do some selections there, right? Using lasso tools, using the magic wand tools. You can see that. I can actually, right, alternate, do some selections, deselections that areas, delete that areas there. So that means there is no negative space lah. For example, like this one there, right? Can you see? You know how actually I did that, right? If you don't know, it's okay. I won't actually teach you guys that. I will show you guys later on, okay? But it's not that important there right now because you guys will learn also in image manipulation. Okay, what are the most important things that we also need to understand about the space? Right? Every design, every form, every structures, every objects have a negative and positive space that actually define the shapes. Actually define the shapes there. What I did basically, I tried to clean up some of the dirty kind of areas line there, okay? What are the positive and negative shapes there? You take a look closely there, right? This is basically what I actually try to delete there, right? Is a negative space that define the areas of space that form, that construct every single shape there from the object, okay? The object itself we call positive space. Positive and negative space there. So define the shapes from that space when you draw things. How big is it, these areas there? The whole thing has to be looked into details there, right? You have to train your eyes from here before you're going to construct the line, before you're going to draw any subject matters in the future. Without having this kind of concern, that's why when you show your drawings, it doesn't look the same. The proportion is not right because you don't develop the understanding on the whole learning or process of developing your understanding by look at things in the right way. Learn to see things in the right way there. Okay? Don't just look at only the overall looks that, oh, this person is quite hard there to draw. You have the emotion of feelings there. Avoid all those kind of psychological kind of feelings there, okay? Avoid them. Why? Because our main objective here, we want to develop our skills there. And when I draw something there, right, guys, when I draw from my kind of subject matters like this one there, right, I never actually, right, estimate myself. I want to draw as perfect as I can there, right? For example, I want to draw her portrait there, right? I don't have this kind of feelings there just to impress people there towards. What I did basically, I try to focus, right, as close as I can to draw the structures. Okay, draw the structures. Those are the things that I try to find out. Okay? Please take a look back again on the videos that I actually show, right? Draw the ears, also the same. Draw the ears is not that hard. The shapes of ears there. See, this is the ears. How to draw ears there. Even though we have the basics kind of form of structures there, and then we transfer this kind of drawings, these basic structures into more curved line kind of forms there, okay? To define the ears shapes there. It's not that hard, right? Okay? You're going to draw fingers from these side profiles, from these shapes there, okay? Picking from the shapes of the cylinders there. That's why when you draw, you have to zoom in. Otherwise, you can't see the whole detail there, okay? When you don't zoom in and you don't actually look closely there, right? That's why you won't get it right. Don't try to be smart enough just to draw something without zoom in and analyze some of the details there, most of the details there. Videos are not there. That's what makes you not doing it the right way. Other than that, right, the process of the drawing for this week, right, is all about develop your confidence strategy and coordination between your hands. You need to develop your right coordination with your hands. All right. Any questions so far? Any questions? Who
No
actually have? Yeah? No?
question.
Yeah. So, anyone have any kind of questions, inquiries? Okay, not about the amount of the drawings that you need to draw. I think if you calculate back again, each two drawings, if I give you got 10 reference, they're going to be 20 drawings, right, for this week. But the drawings has to be with these two different styles only there. And of course, right, in week 7, when we are going to submit our first, maybe the first project, right, you have to do some video recording presentations, each one of you guys, and upload in our Google Classroom. That I'm going to see each individual's how actually you have improvement on the first drawings, right, into the 8 to 6, 7 kind of weeks compressed. Okay, I'm not looking for those who actually really can draw well. I really want to see what are the problems that we face right here. But I already state to you guys what are the mistakes that people always do, right? If you say you don't get used to it, you have to try. You have to force yourself to develop and blending it, right? The way, the methods of working it, okay? Because the continuous line drawing is basically the fundamental exercise. When you saw people can draw well, okay, for example, like this person, okay, that I share, and maybe because of this one, okay, this guy, okay, when he draw that, okay, they actually apply the same methods there, right? They combine sketch line drawing and contour line drawing together, but they're drawing a bit more faster, because contour line drawing were basically meant to develop our process of learning the way that we are going to what we call that train our hands to coordinate with our eyes and mind together when we draw there, okay? Because people who can draw like this, for example, right, you can see there, okay, this master Kim Jong Il, right? If you take a look at how actually he construct the line there, he combined then the sketch line together with the continuous line drawing. See, but no reference there. Where basically his reference? Everything that he draw were based on his imaginations. He trained his imaginations, right? For so many years, he trained his memory kind of mind, photographic kind of memories in his mind, and he transfer whatever that experience that he has with his imaginations together, construct his drawings there, to visualize her illustration, his illustration there. But of course, to become like him, right, if you train 14 weeks, right, I think if you have the magic pill, maybe there, right, okay? But if you actually can draw like this, right, it's a good start there, right? For me, it's a very good kind of potential there. But don't try to be like him. You have to know your level of skill levels. I didn't ask you guys to draw or to become like me there, okay? Because the methods, the time durations that I have with you is different there. But I only can provide the guideline there. What is right, what is wrong. Okay, in order for you to start to develop your skill in the illustrations there. Before you go to create your own characters there. So I did also give a little bit kind of what we call that advice and also comparison. All right, comparison. All right, a comparison which mean okay, I want to give a little bit kind of example back again because even though I record, I know okay, some most of the guys sometimes they take for granted with what we actually have been record. The reason I record the sessions because I want to make sure my students can repeat back again and solve how actually I solve the problem when I draw that. Okay? Because I'm using the same because I'm actually show you guys the basic skills how to work with this kind of drawings there. Okay, I have a sample of drawing. Where is it there? From other people's works there. Okay, for example, here, where is it? Here. Okay, if you saw this reference, okay, this photos reference that I have, this is not my drawing, okay, but this is the drawing basically that I actually post or share to give you guys some ideas there how people start to draw their characters using the same methods of drawing them. That means I'm not the one who actually create the style of them right now, but the style that I produce, that I actually show you guys, is the universal kind of way of how people, right, designing actually use to draw or design their ideas, that develop their idea first. Based on the constructive line, based on the sketch line there first, right? Understand this constructive line, form, line, and structures before they add those details. Okay? That's why the videos that I show you guys, okay, before this are previously, okay, this one there, right? Basically, I explain a little bit how actually we look at things first using the basic object there, okay? You must be able to see the whole thing in three-dimensional steps. Okay? Build up this wireframe or constructive kind of line there. What are the mistakes from these drawings there? All right. So when you draw the basic structure, if you look at this kind of basic structure there, the still life basic structure there, you must be able to transform into this kind of wireframe there, okay? Wireframe or constructive line there, okay? How you see the curved line that define the structures before you go to add those details there. And of course, okay, go back into this drawing here, right? When I actually construct this drawing based on the same structure but different way, right? See how actually I construct the line to design the character, that sketch the character. Take a look at how actually I do. When you have when you have visualized the shape in your mind, you have trained yourself, right? Then you actually have visualized also the the pose that you want to act, okay, for the character, okay, you want to construct for the character, right? It's easy for you to design any characters later on. Even though every characters that I create, that I actually experience, they have different kind of challenge, the right thing. I'm not saying everything will be easy, lah. But that's a beauty, that's a interesting about the process of working there, right? Because people actually can design well, they can actually sketch really well. Okay? So if you take a look at this line drawing that I create, okay, it's not actually a complete drawing there, but it shows the ideas right? When people ask me to draw a character there. When you go for interviews, okay, as I told you guys before, you don't want to end up to draw a detailed characters or drawings there, okay? At that kind of particular time there. People don't have the time to see the skill that you have when you want to draw for half an hour or 15 minutes, right? If you want to show people that you can draw or not directly, you can show a few seconds only. Maybe 1 minute or few seconds only. Just to show people that you really can draw. Alright. So I want you guys ask you guys also one last question. What a comparison there. Right? Okay, one comparison. Okay. If you have a choices there, right? This is what you need to realize. When it comes to what we call that, when we are going to face our first assignments later on, okay, and you will about to design your own characters based on your own ideas, your concept, your stories for your all those three different kind of projects later on, because all the projects that we're going to do are going to be related there, okay, related there, from first until the final project. When you want to start to design or develop your ideas, like you have the visuals with you want to draw some maybe robot characters, little girl characters, you want to draw some aliens characters maybe, right? Okay? Any kind of character that you have in mind there. How, what kind of way of drawing that you want to achieve that kind of ideas there. You have two choices right now, right? Obviously, this is standard two choices there. And this is the thing that we're going to see from your kind of drawings there. You want to end up to draw, right? Guys, please switch on your webcam, right? Okay? Don't be shy there. So, which type of drawing that you find really, really suitable to make your achievements by the end of our semesters there? Which one there, right? Okay? Don't tell me, right? Okay? You don't like it. This is not your styles. If you have better styles, you prove it to me right now. I'm not challenging you guys, okay, but I just want to give you guys a bit kind of a reality check there, okay, about the situations here that we have from the students here. Okay, which type of drawings that you find quite uh, interesting for you to achieve there, okay, by the end of the week 14 there? You want to dedicate yourself the whole life when you want to start to draw characters later on, because I've seen a lot of your seniors there. Even though I actually have trained them, but of course, a lot of people sometimes take for granted already, or they don't train enough there. They do not actually learn to understand that. This is not thing right here. From 100 students that I have, I can see half of them still stubborn enough to change the way they draw. Still stubborn enough. I use the word stubborn because they thought or they take for granted what they've learned there. Right? They don't actually focus enough there. Right? They always think easily there. Right? And some people say they don't like drawing, but why you here? Ask them, right? Okay, why you here there, right? You spend that amount of money, you have sacrificed, okay, invest with a good kind of tools that you have there, right? But why you have to waste that? So do you really want to end up to draw like this later on? Or you want to have this kind of skills there with you? You bring along your skills there. I'm not talking about to draw as perfect like, for example, like Ross. But this is also a very good example, right? Ross drawing there. Okay. This is also one of the good examples. Okay, one of the guy there, I think. Okay. But if you can actually achieve yourself to draw like this, go ahead. I really love to see the students can draw like this because my kind of way objective writing, because this is also a part of the digital illustrations kind of subjects in the future in your next semester, but we're not going to draw only this one, right? Okay? There's a lot of styles that we can draw there. But I would encourage students have this kind of influence or basically objective directly in their life there. Okay, but if you want to achieve this kind of drawings, you have to go into fundamental back again because all these person actually you saw there, okay, they start with the zero knowledge there. Some of them, okay, some of them they have the talents, but they believe the talents there. But if you want to train to yourself to draw like this, you have to start to draw in the right way first. All right, you draw in the right way there. So you have to have the confidence to draw them right. Okay, those are the things that we want to train right now. All right, so you ask yourself that again. You want to end up to become this person for the entire life? I don't want to ask you guys to be me, okay, but the way that I show you guys right now, the way the methods of workings, this is the right way. This is the right methods to develop your kind of rough ideas there. First, rough idea that is done. Okay, so let me check Ross video there. Okay? How actually they construct the line. They're going to be the same. So hopefully you can see that. I think we just want to share it. So you guys, Ross drawing there, right? Ross Rose, right? Drawing steps. Stylized portrait because most of the drawing that he did basically is quite time lapse. It's hard for you to develop an understanding there, right? Okay? Maybe we can actually see right okay, some of the methods. A lot of right. It's a time lapse, right? This one basically is a bit more like a painting, not drawing there, right? Okay, this guy, okay, Ergo George also good. It was one of the good kind of what we call that reference there. How to draw Hobbit Harry with the Tony Boss. Okay, hopefully this video is helpful. Right to watch that. Or react to the old drawing journey there. I don't know that the videos is very good. We can have the clear kind of ideas there. But most of it, he show basically the method that he draw. He doesn't actually show the whole thing there, I think. But this is not the guy, okay? This is one of the fan actually try to draw like him there, okay? But if you saw the stroke itself, you know, they show that. I think the only person actually show directly, right, how it works at the moment is me there, right? So maybe later on, if I have more time, I'm going to do more kind of proper kind of what we call the videos there. But I think most of the video that I share with you guys, even though it's not that proper enough to edit there, okay? But okay, if you take a look at his drawing, the old drawings like mine there, okay? See? Yeah. You can listen also to him right on, okay? How actually he start with that. Everyone starts somewhere, okay? Everyone start from dirty, bad kind of drawings there. All right. So don't be shy with it. This is the drawing that he did before, right? See? All the dirty drawings there. See? A lot of proportion is not right, but he practices on, keep on practicing it, just like I told you guys there. So the proportion is not right. All right. So don't what we call that, feel bad about what you have right now, and try not to hesitate. Try to open up your mind. Be brave to explore. Okay. Okay. One of the methods. Okay. Most of the method that I show you guys. Okay. Previously, is one of the fundamental kind of methods that you guys can actually try to develop those understanding there. But of course, all right, do more research, okay? At the same time, let me share some of the link there, okay? Because I believe that if you actually do a bit more research to get inspired about it, don't actually fascinate with the achievement only there. Try to get to know also what are the challenges that most people have, okay, when they start to draw, all right, in the first standard, okay? And always don't go back into this kind of line. You see this guy faces, right? You see this guy faces? Look like he's not actually, what we call that, not satisfied with his drawings there. See? You see their faces, right? Not very satisfied there, right, with his drawings there. Right, so that means everyone actually have to understand, okay, the main kind of objective there, okay? Catherine, feel a little bit kind of what we call that sleepy there, okay? Talk a lot, I talk a lot. All right. The main objective is we want to change. We have to make some changes of ourselves. Right? You don't want to start with that kind of drawings, okay? What we call that until you graduate, right? Okay? It's really bad situation. I've seen in so many years there. I'm talking, explain to the students, even though, all right, this kind of batch, most of the batch that I actually have been trained up, okay, they get the live session with me face to face there, but we cannot change the mindset there. You the one who actually can change the mindset there right now, not me. No matter how pull the horses to the rivers there, I cannot force the horses to drink the waters there. You the one who make those changes there. Okay? You the one who make the changes there. So remember that, but I'm the one who actually can guide you only there. Show you guys the directions. Right? You in the dark there right now, dark place. Okay, for example. But when we in the dark place, I have the torchlight, right? Okay? The light that can light your way. But if you don't actually want to follow the light, right? You still want to maneuvering around the darkness with your own thought there, right? Okay? I cannot actually force you. Okay? Within those darkness, there's a monster going to kill you, or there's a hole which you can drop down there, okay? Fall down the hole there, okay? I cannot change your mind, right? but I have the light that can give you, right? Okay, I can light your way there basically, right? As I have the time and also the privilege kind of time with you guys, okay, for this instance there. But you don't want to actually decide. You want to follow the directions, the right directions, or you want to keep on maneuvering or whatever that you will find that is right for you. Okay, it's up to you guys. So, if you have any questions, please ask me right on the personal message there, right? And hopefully you guys okay gain something from these sessions. And don't forget to rewatch again, right? Okay, our sessions there because some of the sessions okay you need to develop it because for me, right? Okay, because we work actually online there, right? Okay, because if you work with your friends, if you have a friend with you, guys can share the sessions, right? It's good. But the problem is if we actually still working alone there, okay? We still actually working online, okay? Because you cannot discuss with each other there. But the best way to look at the demonstration that I did, okay, all over again, if you miss some of the things out, but keep on practicing that. All right? So any questions there? Wenhan, have any questions?
No.
No. Right. But all the questions sometimes you can find the answer by doing your exercise, right? Always, okay? When you actually move your hands, when you draw, when you move your hands there, okay? Every single stroke that you move, think first. Think doesn't think like this, lah. Think, oh, not like that, right? Okay. During the process of moving our hands, our mind always thinking there, okay? Oh, wait, can I draw like this one? Can I actually moving to this one, okay? Just develop that kind of feelings there and questions when you draw. But don't stop and don't hesitate there. All right? Because that's how actually we can develop our creativities along the way there. We generate our brain to develop those kind of understanding from that. All right? Okay? So those basically one of the tips there, okay, that I actually doing for myself there. Always talk to yourself, not the crazy people, right? Talk to yourself all over again to work. Some people ask me, okay, because the videos that I actually record yesterday, one of the students asked me, when I start to draw, I start with the manual traditional sketchbook or digital. You saw basically how actually I did it. I can mix them up together. Right? Some of the times I draw in sketchbooks. If I want to get more feel, or I don't want to use my computers, or I use my computers only to watch movie during my sketches, or basically I get some influence, some ideas from other people's works, then I do draw back again on my own styles there. Sometimes. Sometimes I just using what we call that I copy some of the pictures, but I didn't trace them. Normally I didn't trace them. I construct back again those design ideas, the shape itself, using my kind of mind and develop back again those kind of understanding and develop and construct back again during the process of drawing in those computers. So whatever that we draw, sometimes when we develop those ideas, everything our imagination based on our experience there. No one can imagine something without having experience. Experience doesn't mean that you can touch things, then you have experience, right? Experience by observing. You watch people what we call that eat by using chopsticks, then you try, for example, right? Okay. You watch people work out, right? Okay, and then you practice yourself, right, on your own, then you will find the right way there, right? Okay, to work there. So you can work both. You have to be more flexible there in terms of learning process, okay. I know it's hard. I know it's not that easy. I'm not saying it's everything is easy. I look when I actually do those demonstrations look easy there, right? But it's not that easy. I know it's not that hard, it's not that easy there, but you have to practice that. This is the only way to practice them. Don't afraid to make mistakes. You know one on the books there, right? Dare to fail, right? You know, he's the guy who actually write those books, right? Those party buku that dare to fail. Right? Without failing, without falling, you won't be able to improve that. Right? That's what I say. When I draw, also I did also a lot of mistakes, but we know how to overcome them back, right? So thank you very much for having me today. Right, and hopefully you guys not feel quite bored with my kind of what you call that sessions there, because I've talked a lot that day. But normally when you saw me outside there, okay, I won't be able to talk a lot. I'm a quite shy kind of guy there. So thank you very much guys. Okay, take care of yourself right here, okay, and check back again those our videos there, okay. And wait for another tree, but you can actually continue to draw. But of course, you want to draw something from your own exercise. Don't just draw from other people's works. Even though I did also the same thing right previously, but also train yourself to draw from other people's. But the best way, draw yourself there. Draw your own trees there. So the best way to study, draw ourselves that is from side profiles, front view, three-quarter view. Draw anything based on the real photos that is. Draw animals, draw dogs, cats, elephants, anything there, okay, want to draw. You want to draw dragons, of course, we cannot see the real life dragon, right? You have to draw from other people's works there. Draw lizards there, crocodiles there, anything there. Motorcycle that we had to draw before, right? So train yourself from here, all right? And of course, right, you guys have social media there, right? Account there, Instagram, Facebook. I think the best way, maybe later I'm going to put as a compulsory. If you want to have a different account, try to make one account. This is only not a formal there, okay? One social media account that emphasize more on your drawing skill or your drawing journey there, okay? Or your illustration journey there. Why? Why I told these kind of things there? Because you have to create your kind of environments that you want to promote yourself later on as a designer there. That's how actually I get a lot of job or people get to know me, okay, because of the social media thing. Since actually right 2007, 8, 9, when the social media getting growth there, okay, I post a lot of things in my Facebooks, not only my family kind of thing or personal kind of activities, okay, but most of it my works there. Even though when I doing some of the different business, right, I also post in the social media. This is the time for you to shine there. Don't be shy there, as you would say. All right. So thank you very much, guys. Have a good evening. All right. So I'll see you guys next week. Any questions? Buzz me there. Okay. So thank you very much, okay, for having me. Have a nice day, and